telling you what, this is some good shit. This is my shit right now. Xbox One.
Elite?
Yes.
Have I missed this?
Do you remember reading an article that I wrote about the Xbox One press conference? And it said in it that they released Xbox One Elite.
Scan red.
I remember. No, I proved that.
Apparently you didn't. Hello and welcome to the AVForums gaming podcast for the month of June. June is our E3 special. Guys, we've watched all the panels. Well, some of us have watched all the panels. All the announcements are in. Are we excited? I think we are excited, aren't we?
It's genuinely reasons to be excited this year, to be honest.
All right, high fives all round.
Yeah, literally.
What's the fallout from E3?
Oh.
You can keep that one for free.
The E3 coverage has been all over the site. Hopefully, listener, you've had a chance to keep up to date. Guys, where should we start? Should we start with Bethesda? That was the one that kind of kicked off the proceedings. We kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to sit up and watch this one. And to be honest, I thought it was going to be the best one of them all. And it might well have been, actually, thinking about it. They had some pretty good stuff to show. Top of the billing, well, not top of the billing, but first out of the gate was Doom. They actually showed the new Doom, and I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers for that, but it is brutal.
Yeah,
it looks very pretty and it's very orange and brown. That's the main thing I took away from that trailer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still got the spirit of Doom, so it's kind of the similar sort of thing that happened with Mortal Kombat for me, where like the new Mortal Kombat looks like I imagined it years and years ago. Like you imagined that was what was actually happening, even though it was just really small sprites and ridiculous graphics. Whereas now it's kind of really vivid, and Doom is like that. I mean, he's like snapping mandibles and beating people to death with arms and like just absolute crazy levels of gore. But yeah, it looks pretty cool, and it looks exactly like what Doom should be, to be honest.
I liked how it actually went quite old school as well, because it didn't have all the regenerating health and regenerating ammo. It went proper old school. It had health pickups, you had ammo pickups. It didn't pretend to be anything other than Doom, and I quite like that. In the day that everything else is trying to push forward, this is at least harking back to the past.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a huge fan of Doom, and I just can't wait for that. I think there's a beta starting at some point soon. And surprisingly, they announced this thing called Doom Snap Map, which is kind of like a modding tool, if you will, so you can create your own maps, and they've made it really kind of modular, so you can just snap together like corridors and sections of maps, and there's all sorts of stuff that you can do with it, and it looks like it's going to be really, really quite interesting. Other things at the Bethesda conference, Dishonored 2 was announced by Arcane, which was pretty cool. Only a trailer, but it still looked very, very good. You can play as a female.
We all enjoyed Dishonored first time round, didn't we? So were we excited for this sequel?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I like the gameplay, and it looks like they're going to expand it a little bit. There's 2 playable characters. One is a young lady called Emily, which is pretty cool, and then you've got Corvo as well, and they've got different powers. Still got that same kind of steampunky, opulent rich people looking down on the poor, lowly, poor people kind of vibe going on. But yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Is that the Emily from the first one? The princess, is it? Or
that's a good question. I do not know the answer to that.
I think I never got through Dishonored. Yeah, I think someone told me it was as well.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So yeah, there's that. What else did they give to us?
What platforms are these games coming to? All the big ones?
All of these are multi-platform at the moment. In fact, I think everything at Bethesda was multi-platform. There was no exclusivity apart from a couple of features which we'll get to, I suppose. After that, what else did we have? We have this Battle Cry game, which looks pretty rubbish. That was the worst thing at the press conference, to be honest. Sort of like a third-person action game.
I think they knew it as well, because they didn't spend too much time on it.
Yeah, they kind of just dropped it in there and just got it out of the way before they got to what everybody was there to see, which is Fallout 4, which was pretty fantastic.
Right, so start from the beginning, because this is the one I wanted to hear about. We were excited about this a couple of pods ago. Tell me everything.
There is so much to unpack. I mean, there is so much going on. Like, the most broad way I can put it, and this is not me being down on the game is that it is Fallout 3, but it just looks better. And that's a very, very low-level way of putting it, but just so that you can understand what I mean. Like, it is Fallout 3 in a new environment, looking very, very good. But at the same time...
Are you surprised or disappointed? It seems a strange way to describe it. I mean, surely that's what it had to be, no?
But that's at its base. I think everyone who played Fallout... Well, I really love Fallout 3, and I think everyone who saw Fallout 4 would want that as a basis and build from. Because if they deviated too far away from it, then I think there'd be questions. So at least they're building from a solid foundation. But it's not just Fallout 3. They have added odds and sods onto it. So... I think the one that struck me most was they've put on a settlement building aspect to it as well. So I think this was in Skyrim, but you can build up houses, defences, barricades, turrets to protect an enclave that you can claim in the middle of the wasteland. So it almost goes like adds a bit of the Sims and tower defence to the Fallout formula as well.
Yeah, definitely. That looks awesome, and the way they've like integrated it with power and stuff like that as well, so you can like set up turrets and like security systems and that sort of stuff. And then once you've got a good enough community, I mean, you start off just building your own sort of your own house or your own settlement or whatnot, but once you've got enough space, you get like traders come in and NPCs will come in, and then you'll get raiders will attack you, and you'll have to sort of defend your community and that sort of stuff. It looks like something you could spend a lot of time doing, even without the rest of the game.
It's all based on the scrap system, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's a whole other thing, because, I mean, anybody who's played Fallout knows just the hell of encumbrance and walking into somewhere and going, right, I want to take everything from here with me, because even though half of it isn't worth anything, I can usually do something with it or sell it or something like that. But at the same time, you did used to end up with 25 pots and pans and 4 sinks and 12 kettles, and
you now have a reason to collect spoons.
Yeah, now all of this stuff can be broken down into its base elements and turned into a scope for a weapon or an attachment for a weapon or something else that's actually vaguely useful.
I predict after about 5 days with this game, I won't have got about 300 yards from where it started.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I think this is the great thing. It's added a way to play it, because beforehand I think there were two flavours of people who just went straight down the storyline, and there was people like me who came out the vault, then immediately turned away from where the objective marker was and walked off into the wasteland just to try and find out what was there.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it.
Yes, yeah, you just explore all the triangles. But now, when you explore, you go, actually, I really like this place. It gives you a reason to come back to it. And then you could just spend your entire time just building up these tower defense, building up your community. I think it's fantastic. Give you another way to experience the wasteland.
Yeah, it's another reason to be there. I mean, after, let's say you've done Fallout there, and I put 100 hours into that thing. And my house at the top of a 10-penny tower was absolutely fantastic. Had loads of stuff in there. But once I'd finished the story and explored pretty much everything, it was kind of okay. I can just wander around here forever, I guess. But there's no real motivation to actually do that. But now, I mean, it feels like it might actually kind of be endless. At some point, you could just keep building up that community and keep getting, protecting them and adding defences and all sorts of stuff. It looks pretty compelling, to be honest with you.
Are you going to buy the Pip-Boy edition?
Oh my god, the Pip-Boy edition. So aside from the fact that there's a second screen which you can use as your Pip-Boy, so you've got all the menus up there, and they've completely changed the interface of that. It looks really realistic. It's now built on like a tape system where there's games in it and all sorts of stuff, and they've just really fleshed out the design of it so it looks like an actual device. You can also get the Pip-Boy edition, which creates, it comes with an actual Pip-Boy, which you can put your phone in and put it on your wrist.
No way.
So while playing the game, you could look at your Pip-Boy and change your stats and set your waypoints and crazy, absolutely crazy.
What I really liked was how the chap on stage pretty much acknowledged that all second screen apps were a bit rubbish. But if you're going to have a bit of a rubbish secondary app, have it in a really cool holder.
Yeah. And that is the coolest of holders, let's be honest.
I was going to say, do we really think it's got legs? Has it got longevity? Or do we think it's just a very nice collector's piece to get on the shelf?
I think it's a nice piece. I honestly think the functionality is really quite cool. So I can just have my tablet here and doing all sorts of stuff on the second screen. But as far as actually sitting there with it on my
On
wrist,
my arm, yeah.
You're not going to pop down Sainsbury's with it on, is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I mean, I love Fallout, but I'm not sure.
Oh, you'll be the coolest kid in town. Can you imagine?
It's definitely pretty cool, but I don't know. Yeah,
Do
Fallout.
they give an idea of price? Or how much is that sort of thing going to cost?
I think it's £100.
It's £100 and it's a game exclusive in the UK.
Oh, really? I didn't know it was a game exclusive. That's interesting.
One little niggle that I have with it is that the player character speaks as like actually got fully voice acted lines, and I don't know why, but I don't really like that.
Is it because you like to believe it's actually you?
I like to believe that I'm there with a mohawk and a flamethrower and a sword that's on fire, and I'm just mowing down everyone.
What would have been the alternative, though? It would have been the same chat
I would
interface as
prefer,
last time.
Because when you've got that fully voice acted, that version of it, you've got the prompts at about 2 or 3 words, and then your character says like a full sentence out of those 2 or 3 words. But in Fallout 3, it was a sentence, and you knew exactly what you said and what you meant by what you were saying by it. I don't know. It's just something that I didn't expect, and I'm not that keen on. But that's not to say that I'm not keen on Fallout 4 because it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy.
The iOS game has already broken records or something, hasn't it?
Oh, don't talk to me about that. I want to play that.
I know, it's gutting on Android, isn't it?
It's so annoying.
Whoa! Say this again. iOS game.
Fallout Shelter. It's kind of, XCOM, where you were looking at your base in a 2D sort of way, and you could put like things into the base, but you were looking at it in a 2D sort of perspective. Yeah. It's kind of that, but it's a vault. And you look after the survivors, level them up, send them out on missions, breed them. Breed is a weird word, but they have babies, and you basically look after your own vault, and it gets attacked and that sort of stuff. But it's only on iOS because they love Apple for some reason.
It's downloading right now.
Yeah, and it's free.
I
hate you.
Any payoff for the actual game when it comes? Is there anything you import from it, or are they just completely standalone?
I believe it's standalone. I don't think it ties in any way.
Yeah, I think it's just another advert, a living advert, because I think it's completely free to play, and they were quite open about there was no paywalls to block your product. You could buy more something or other if you wanted to. But
lunch boxes.
Yes. Yeah, but it's just a promo item, and I think the fact it actually sounds like it's a reasonably good game from what people have been saying. It just only furthers the hype behind the franchise.
Yeah, I think it's a really refreshing, interesting thing to do, and I'd like to think that more games will do it. I think there's a big part of saying, here's this announcement, and by the way, you can do this now, or it's available next week, or you can pre-order it now, or this, or something. It always seems a bit of an anticlimax when they announce something and say, yep, it'll be with you in 18 months if we don't delay it.
Yeah, there was more of that this E3, which I was really happy with. I mean, we'll get to the rest of it, but there were quite a few moments when it was like, and it's available now.
Yeah.
Which are always fun, because E3 is great. We get to look, watch a lot of stuff on screens and that sort of stuff, but there's nothing quite like, getting something new. And this week I've had, 4 or 5 different things which are available now, and I just really feel like, you're kind of part of it. I think it was good, like flipping off to Nintendo just for a second. Didn't they sort of give Wii U owners loads of show floor demos and stuff like that? I don't know why more of them don't do that. Games can be pushed out to people. Why can't we be sat here and go, right, I'm reading about this demo. Why can't I just play it on my console if the people in the hall can play it, and then they can take it away from me after the week?
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah.
It would be a great way to involve us, but we'll get to that with Nintendo.
Am I right in thinking that Fallout 4 is coming out this year?
Yes, that was the other thing.
November the 10th.
Indeed.
Ooh.
November the 10th, and...
Which was my brother's birthday, but I think it's been superseded.
Well, you've got to think the people at Crystal Dynamics, because they announced November the 10th as well. You've got to think that when they heard Fallout, they were like, oh, guys.
God damn it.
We need a meeting.
For technical reasons, Tomb Raider has slipped.
So yeah, this year just.
And again, that's across all platforms: PC, PS3, Xbox One.
I don't think it's PS3 or 360. I think they've said it's just Xbox One and PS4.
So next gen consoles and PC. Okay.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Indeed. And if we want to segue into Microsoft, because that was the next one, I think. But during that conference, they said that PC mods will be playable on Xbox One for free.
Say what?
Indeed. Although it's come out at the end, everyone always wants to clarify, and they did not say it wouldn't be on the PS4. So entirely possible that it's coming to the PS4 as well. But at the Microsoft conference, they announced that PC mods will be coming for free.
Okay, very interesting. It seems like, now there's more of a compelling argument to go with a console than or at least they're trying to bridge the gap. If you're a bit PC, anti-PC, then, it's encouraging reasons to be a console owner, I guess.
I think after the two platform holders, I actually didn't watch Nintendo, not gonna lie. But after Sony and Microsoft, I think there are more reasons now than ever.
Yeah, I feel like I might be in the market again for a console.
There's a surprise.
You just want a shiny new toy.
We'll have to see how you feel at the end of this. Well, look, at the end of this podcast, let's see which one you're going to
I tell you what, the one I really want to ask you about, and seeing as we're moving on to Microsoft now, tell me about this controller, the Elite controller.
Ooh, the Elite controller.
Is this the $150 one that you can change every single button?
Now correct me if I'm wrong, that's half the price of an actual Xbox One.
It is, but you have to look at it in the right context. There is a context.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. In balance sheet at Microsoft.
No, there is. There's actually a legitimate one. I'm not going to buy one, but the market they're undercutting here is the professional scuff controller market. This already exists. Scuff controllers, which you can change the thumbsticks, you can have extra paddles, so you don't have to take your fingers off the sticks.
Are we calling them paddles now?
No, as in they're actual
they're
paddles.
Actual paddles. Okay.
Underneath, they've added paddles so they can be replaced for
shoulder buttons or
completely extra inputs, which can be mapped to have like the face button inputs on there or whatever you want. So that if you're in a shooter and your thumbs on the sticks, you don't have to take your thumb off to say reload or anything like that. You can use the fingers that are normally underneath the controller to hit one of the paddles as the input instead. Now this is purely like a professional, super hardcore thing. Call of Duty professional players will be using this, and people who are really into racing games because they can be used for paddle shifted, perhaps stuff like that. They would use a scuff controller for that, and those run at like $250. $250 stuff, prices like that. So this is actually cheaper than that, and it does it better, and there's more features. It's not for everybody, and it's kind of weird that they've gone after this market, because you'd think they just leave it to the third parties. You'd think there wouldn't be enough margin in it, but if you buy one of those controllers, then this looks better. And if you're willing to spend that much money, you're probably happy to spend this much money.
Just seems a weird thing to announce at E3, though.
Totally, with you.
But if you put it, if they are aiming it at the pro players, E3 is like the height of where gaming announcements get trotted out. So it does make sense in that sense. It's going to be the widest audience there.
Yeah, I'm with James. Makes total sense. And really, you push something out like that out at another time, I think it would sink without a trace pretty quickly.
I don't think so, because it's not a big market. That would get known. If people are spending that money on controllers, they would know that kind of thing is out there in the market. If you put it in the middle of a kind of mass consumer show, which has a lot of things kind of distilled down to its base components, so it gets kind of reported by the kind of wider press, new controller, that looks great. £100, no,
But I wonder if it's more than that, because like over the last few years they've been, sort of like poo-pooed for like trotting out apps and Kinect, and maybe not necessarily focusing on the core gamer. Whereas having that at the forefront of the conference, to some respects, is reasserting that, look, guys, we're for the gamers at this point in time.
I think that's exactly what it was, and I think a lot of this conference was. I put it in the article that I wrote up. Like last year was them going, "Oh my God, we're sorry." We like gamers. Look, all these games. We've got it, and it was kind of a defensive play. They were still backtracking, and they were still trying to win the hearts and minds. This year was them going, all right, we've done that. Now we're attacking. We're going out for
getting
this.
back some swagger.
Yeah, literally. And some of the announcement that they pulled were just like, I wasn't expecting a lot from Microsoft. I knew the lineup was good. I thought it was all pretty known, but they still managed to drop some jaws. Okay,
well, we've heard about the controller, so...
Yeah, that was in the middle somewhere. We'll just hit the big one straight up. Backwards compatibility. Now, Xbox 360 games.
Presumably this was a huge surprise for you, because I think you'd given up hope.
I had given up hope. Way back when before I even had my Xbox One, I assumed that this would be something which would exist, which was why I basically bought all my 360 stuff digitally, so that one day my theory was I would just turn on my Xbox One and they would all appear, but that never came to pass. But this could possibly be getting there. I mean, it's very limited at the moment, and it's only for preview members. There's only a small amount of titles, but they've said there will be up to 100 titles by this fall, and it will be ready for everybody this holiday. So, good times.
Yeah, I mean, surely that means that they just look at your account, whatever you had is just suddenly going to be available to you.
Yep, anything you own digitally will just appear in your apps and games list. So I turned on the other day, and I think Banjo and Hexic and Meat Boy were all there, ready to greet me. I was overjoyed to see Hexic was there. I love Hexic.
Viva Pinata, ladies and gentlemen. I now have Viva Pinata on my Xbox One. We can all go home. We're done. There's nothing left to achieve here.
Okay, great. So you must have been feeling pretty smug then when they announced that.
I was feeling pretty smug. I was kind of impressed because, I mean, Phil Spencer even said, he was like, we weren't sure we could do it because a lot of people didn't think they could do it. And, you know, it was a completely different, it was PowerPC based, the last gen, and emulating that sort of stuff. It's not easy. But they seem to have done it on some sort of system level where literally all they have to do is say to a publisher, just has to say, tick a box and say, yes, put this game on the service, and boom, it appears. So unlike last gen, when they sort of had to do a lot of work for every individual title to make it work, which is why at some point they just gave up and went, listen, we don't care about this anymore. Hopefully this time it's going to be more of a why not kind of approach, and just titles will flood onto the service.
I could just think, was it a late one, the conference? Did you have to get up in the middle of the night?
Oh no, this one was a nice one. This was at 5:30 in the afternoon.
I was going to say, I've just got pictures of you in like your dressing gown and slippers, rising to your feet as they make the backwards compatibility announcement, giving them a slow hand clap, just nodding.
It wasn't far off. I was just like, yes, vindicated. It was pretty good. It was pretty good times.
So they sound like they've been on a bit of a roll. So what was next? What was the next announcement?
To be honest, that was the high point, and it kind of slowly dipped a little bit at this point. They got to the Fallout 4 thing, and they said about the mods and stuff, and then Peter Moore came out for EA and was just doing some sort of infomercial sales thing for EA
He was
Access.
Mr. Businessman talking business at that point. Everyone else was in jeans, t-shirt and suit jackets, like proper corporate executive, and he comes out in the crispest suit that I think
If the devil ever comes back, he will look like Peter Moore. I swear to God.
Not far off. So yeah, he came out and was trying to sell everybody EA Access, and to try and convince people. They've added Titanfall, they've added Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's free for the week of E3, so that you can try it out. And told us that there's another Plants vs Zombies on the way. But
now this was actually a real high point for me, because Plants vs Zombies have got Highway to the Danger Zone as their trailer music.
I never want to hear that song again.
Utterly inspired.
Really?
We were watching it, and there was a small group of us who just absolutely loved it. Started singing along. But I'm guessing from the mood in this podcast room that it's just me on this.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I'm a big Kenny Loggins fan. Do you know much of Kenny Loggins' work?
I have to say I have one of his songs in my collection, and you can probably guess which from this previous sentence or two.
The only reason I know the name Kenny Loggins is because of Archer. Because Archer likes Kenny Loggins and sings Danger Zone a lot.
Yeah, Danger Zone. But
exactly.
Didn't Kenny Loggins also write lots of TV theme tunes as well? So Gummy Bears is a Kenny Loggins.
No.
Oh, right.
100%. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
To Google, right. Let's find out.
Everyone is off to YouTube right now.
That's good times. Wow. But I didn't think the song was that appropriate. I don't know. I like the song more than I like the game.
Appropriate. I just thought it was a good choice.
Yeah.
It's just...
So there was that. What else we got here? They did the usual Idea Xbox montage thing, and there's some good stuff. Cuphead continues to look absolutely
looks amazing,
insane.
Cuphead.
Yeah, it looks like a 1930s animated cartoon, sort of like think early Mickey Mouse.
I mean, I must say it's like some of the best art direction in a video game. I think I've ever seen. I mean, just it's so stylized, and they've totally pulled off, or at least from what I've seen, they've totally pulled off what they set out to do.
You just hope that the actual gameplay lives up to the graphics and the montages that we've seen.
We hope it's not style over content.
Oh wow! All right, I'm watching
down
the trailer for it.
But even down to things like the little kind of hairs and scratches on the title screen and stuff like that, they've absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, I love that sort of stuff, you know, like same way Far Cry Blood Dragon did it, you know, that kind of video scanning effect, like an 80s copy effect. I love that, recreating CRT effects and old style effects sort of thing. And when they do it well, it's just brilliant, and Cuphead is doing it very well. What else we got?
The weird thing is that Microsoft's conference was, it almost seemed like answers to things that they assumed that Sony was still pushing, but yet they weren't in any way. I'm sure we'll get onto that with Sony, but like things like ID at Xbox and backwards compatibility, you think, oh well, Sony have been touting indies for some time, for the last couple of years, to kind of stick the boot into Microsoft, and PS Now was the big service, and it just kind of like they completely left that this year, so it was completely wide open for Microsoft.
Yeah, they kind of flipped, like you're saying. Sony has hit them hard recently with a lot of like service level stuff, like you don't have to trade in your games, or you can play second-hand games and all that sort of stuff. Whereas this year they seem to have gone for the check out these games angle, and Microsoft are like, right, this is our service sort of thing. To add to that, they did Xbox Game Preview, which is essentially Steam Early Access for the Xbox. Elite is available now, and I am playing it now.
So have you noticed any difference? How are they actually presenting it? Is the early access stuff on Xbox presented any differently, or is it just a warning when you download it?
It's called Xbox Game Preview, so it is a little extra section. There's disclaimers all over the place saying this is early access, it may blow up your machine, and if it sets your house on fire, it's not our fault. That sort of stuff. There's a few differences from Steam, I guess. I think they're trying to be a little bit more careful about it. Every game has to have a free trial that you can use. They tend to be cheaper. Elite is a lot cheaper. It's only $24.99. I assume that price will go up when it's actually completed. So yeah, it's an interesting service. There's Elite, and what was the other one that was done? The Long Dark is also available right now, which is a survival kind of game where they chuck you in the woods and see how long you can survive. So yeah, that's a new service which exists.
Let's talk a little bit about Elite, because presumably this was a big surprise. I know that we kind of had heard rumours. It may have even been announced that Elite was coming to the Xbox One.
It was announced, yeah.
But we didn't expect it to be, and now you can go and download it.
No, they said summer, and we kind of thought maybe at E3 they would say, oh, it's coming in August, which they did for a few things or something like that. But this was a pull it out of my pocket, Steve Jobs, it's available now type deal, which was pretty cool. It was very cool, and it's very good. If anybody's interested, it's hard.
Do you have much experience with the PC version, or are you coming to this completely cold?
Coming to it completely cold, and it's tough. It's kind of like Project Cars was. There's a lot of these sort of games now that the consoles are so close to PCs. Super hardcore games like Project Cars or Elite, which are basically like super dense sims which don't really hold your hand, can come to the platform. I think it might be a shock to the people who aren't used to those sort of games, but it's good news for those of us who have been looking for something like this. You know, I want to play Eve, but I don't want to play on PC, and this is essentially kind of close to it.
What about the interface? Because you've obviously got a keyboard and a mouse on the PC, and you don't on your Xbox One. Is it tough? Is it hard? They try to cram more into the Xbox One controller.
Yeah, it's a lot of hold down Y, press up on the D-pad, hold down B, press another button. It's a lot of holding one button and pressing another for certain things, but at the same time, it's not exactly. I mean, there is some dogfighting and stuff, but ultimately it's another spreadsheet game. It's a lot of fly here, autopilot to here, dock ship, go to spreadsheet, buy low, sell high, and do the same thing again. So it's not a lot of quick timing and reaction needed, so you don't really get flummoxed with the controls too much. I mean, they're hard, but once you've got a grasp of them, it's not really hard to execute. But don't get me wrong, it is early access. They weren't lying. It crashes every 5 seconds, and the frame rate dies quite often. So yes, work needs to be done on it. But I think I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I've got the option to do it.
How many times have you crashed your ship while docking? Because when I was looking into getting it, docking looked like the most difficult thing in the entire world.
Okay, crashing my ship while docking. I'm banned from one spaceport because I can't dock. They've fined me a few times because like the first few times I was just hitting the pad and just not realised because your ship has to be turned around the right way, and it was a lot of learning. But it's one of those things which is super hard and frustrating. You think, why on earth would anybody want to do this in this game? This is rubbish. Why is it not just some automatic thing? But now that I know how to do it, there's nothing cooler than swinging into a spaceport, flinging my ship around, docking it in like 1 minute and being like, who the man, bitches?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Like, it's pretty good. So yes, Elite is great. Check it out. It's cheap and is broken, but excellent. What else we got? Daisy. You like Daisy, don't you, Niall?
Like is a very, very loose term for it.
Is it still broken? There's a question for you.
It's been broken for for years now, and it still is broken.
Excellent. So Dean Hall is done, and he is making Ion instead.
It is like he's just said, my work here is done. I'm moving on.
Well, I like the way he came out with a quote, I think, earlier this week going, well, I've learned things from DayZ and now I want to see it through with a different project. So, well, why can't you see it through with the last one?
Money, money, money.
I think he's just got a really short attention span, that guy. He's just like, oh, this is cool, and next thing. Oh, this is cool, sell it, pass it off to somebody else.
But he doesn't actually own anything in DayZ, does he? He will never profit from it. He'll only profit from what they choose to give him. Whereas if it's a new IP...
it's still a mod.
Exactly, yeah. It's all his own thing. It's all about money, I'm sure.
Yeah, and this one looks cool. It looks more down my street. It's a massively multiplayer online game where you must colonise the universe. So it's in space, basically.
Okay, just a small thing then.
Space zombies.
Yeah. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. And I think that's going to be coming to the early access or game preview, as it is named.
Early access, Dean Hall.
You're onto something there. I mean, the dude better put it off. Whatever he is doing, he better pull it off and see it through, because otherwise he's going to be chased out of Gamer Town.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that. If I was on Xbox and it was definitely early access, I wouldn't go for it, to be honest with you, because DayZ is a mess and it's been a mess for years.
Well, you could try the free trial and see if it floats your boat, and if not, then you're out. You haven't wasted any money.
Yeah, I suppose.
Although I will say, for something like Elite, it's absolutely rubbish because the free trial is an hour, and the first hour of Elite is, hey, go and check out these YouTube videos because we're not telling you how to do anything. and you go to the YouTube videos, it's like, press the button for docking. Oh, the button? Fantastic. Which one of those 17 buttons on this controller is this then? And it's of absolutely no use to you. So you'll spend the first hour of the trial just trying to figure it out, so it's useless. But anyway.
Sounds really fun when you put it that way.
It is. It's so fun. But anyway. After that, we got some Tomb Raider, which looked
gameplay.
Nice.
They touted it as gameplay.
I mean, was it really though?
Of gameplay.
It was basically throwing Lara around again.
I'm intrigued. Let me check
making
this out.
Press forward on control stick.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
It was one of those sequences. It's like, why show this?
I just love the fact they've got a guy on stage holding a controller.
Yeah, why?
Holding forward.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
What really frustrated me was in the trailers afterwards, they showed her actually raiding tombs, actually sort of like doing some exploring in some like Amazonian forest where there was a collapsed temple around her. So that would have been far more interesting.
The thing I loved about that, which was they've almost put in, it's almost like getting her beaten up is just the prime concern now. It's taking on a strangely Faulty Towers twist. Where like she gets to the top of the mountain and like the other guy's attached to her and she stops to check out the view and see what's going on, and then she loses her grip. You know, it just gets almost comical at this stage.
It's pretty comedic. But I think James is right. I mean, the problem, not that anyone had a problem with Tomb Raider, but if you were to say something that you didn't like about the Tomb Raider, most people would say that those tombs weren't tombs. They were just kind of really stupidly easy puzzles, and exploring wasn't really a thing. So if I was them, I would have said, right, here's a tomb. here's a puzzle. Here's the element that you thought was missing. It is in this game. We didn't need to see I've fallen down this thing and I have to avoid these things while sliding and grab the ledge with my ice pick and jump across. We didn't need to see that. We knew that was going to be in the game. But still, it looked nice.
I'm just looking at this dude stood on stage.
He looks really bored.
It's an easy paycheck.
It's a bit awkward. Why couldn't he come out in costume or something?
As Lara Croft.
I'd watch that.
I would not watch that.
Grown male developer dressed in hot pants.
Where's the showmanship here?
Oh, did we miss Forza 6?
You missed Halo if we're doing this chronologically, which astounded me. I guess you were going to close with it.
Yeah, I suppose so. We'll roll backwards. If you wanted showmanship, they dropped a Ford GT from the ceiling.
Narrowly
Really?
missing Phil Spencer.
Okay.
And Henry Ford III came out from Detroit to say, I like Forza, and go home again.
Now this I have to see. Right, where's...
all I can find is a gameplay trailer. I can't find the...
I don't know why that dude felt it necessary to be at E3.
That was very awkward.
He got a big sack of money after it, probably.
Yeah.
Unless the new Ford GT can't go anywhere without him. He has to be within 50 metres of it at all times.
I preferred his stage present than Pele's, in fairness.
Well, there is
Oh,
that.
Poor old
shorter.
Pele. He's like the world's greatest footballer.
He's
He
trying his
is, but he's
best.
not the most enigmatic man to hold a press conference in front of 1,000 gamers.
Yeah, definitely not. Let's jump back to Halo 5, actually, being as though you mentioned that we missed it. That was the first thing that they showed. And it looked good. It looks like
They
Halo.
look very good.
I'm going to say it wasn't the prettiest thing. I mean, it was pretty, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the prettiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I didn't look at it and go, oh, that's the next level of Halo. It just looked very good. Maybe I'm just sort of numb to how good Halo looks these days.
I think what I took away, I mean, it looks nice. I don't think it looks... I think it looks very good for the next generation, but I think what I took away, the fact it's got 4 players on the screen, and so I'm thinking of it, it's not going to be that co-op experience where you have Master Chief and 3 clones. For the first time, I think in a long time, you're going to have 4 distinct players, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to this massive co-op campaign that they're hopefully putting together.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of the new designers at 343. He made a game. It's the Star Wars game with the Stormtroopers, and you can order people around. Anybody remember what that was called?
Oh,
Rogue Squadron?
Yeah.
No, that's the flying one, isn't it? It's
The Star Wars game with the Stormtroopers.
yeah. Sorry. But it was the
actual.
actual good one. It was the good one that people liked, and you could order people around and stuff. And I can't remember what it's called, so I'll move on. But you can give out orders to your team, stuff like that. Like James says, they're all distinct characters. You've got Buck, who is Nathan Fillion, who was from Reach. And there's other distinct characters in the team. On the Master Chief side, if you care about Halo and if you care about the lore, you've got Fred and Linda, who are also old Spartans from the books.
there was a nerdy part of me that freaked out. I think the people around me watching the press conference with me thought I'd had a tiny seizure. I absolutely loved the fact that they're two actually making an appearance in a game for a change.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're Linda, then you'll always have a sniper rifle, which again, nerdgasm, because Linda snipes.
Fred and Linda.
Yeah, that's the names of Spartans.
Master Chief's name's John,
Yeah.
so they haven't gone wildly off kilter with
Sounds
this.
like the sequel to Rod, Jane and Freddy.
So yeah, Halo looks good, and they unveiled Warzone, which is a 24-player game type with lots of AI, and seems like the biggest thing Halo has done for a long time, with maps 4 times the size, and they were very excited about it, but it looked like Halo multiplayer to me.
I want to know how the AI opponents figure into this, because I quite liked what Destiny did in the sense that they introduced these almost the wave-based system, the AI. They made the world seem alive beyond just other players with the AI that they dropped in.
Didn't Titanfall do that?
Yeah, yes, no, that's an even that is a better example. So I want to know how Halo's going to bring it in. Are they just going to be incidentals, or are you going to be A versus B versus C? It just happens that one of those teams is AI, just causing some mix-up.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's going to be, and I don't know why Turok has popped into my mind, but it'll be like Turok.
Where did you pull that from?
I have no idea. But the dinosaurs are there. They're not They're not the main object of the game, but they're making you have a bad day, so you have to kill them. So I feel like the Halo grunts, like there'll be that sort of thing. Like you want to kill the other players, but you got to kill those guys to get to them.
I'm looking at it now. It looks really pretty, doesn't it?
Yeah, I normally really dislike Halo games, but I'm actually feeling kind of into this a little bit.
These particle effects are definitely something I've not really seen in a Halo game before. So that's what's really drawing me in.
I think maybe it's because there was a beta and I was already impressed with the beta. Like that, so I know what it looks like. So it didn't impress me this time because I've seen it before. So there was that. We also missed Recon, which is a brand new IP by Metroid Prime creator, and I'm going to butcher his name, Keiji Inafune, which looks pretty cool. It was just a CG trailer.
The first dog of the evening as well.
This robot dog. I'm looking now. Yeah, it's cute.
Keiji Inafune, is that not Mega Man? Rather than Metroid Prime.
Yes, Mega Man.
Whoops.
Yep.
I put the wrong thing.
And I think it's from some of the team.
Did you just
behind
pull
Metroid
that from
Prime as
memory,
well.
Mark?
Yeah.
That's a Mark fact. Mark.
Is it? That's so Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a Mark fact.
Slow hand clap for Mark.
But it looked cool. It looked like, everything's powered by a core, and the little dog had his little core, and then he sacrificed himself to save his owner, and then they put the core of the dog into another husk of a machine, which it then woke up, and they continued on their journey. So it looks pretty cool.
If we're on dogs, should be pointed out dog meat can't die. That fact's
really?
just hit.
Ooh, Fallout 4.
Fallout 4,
That's
you mean?
reassuring. I'm much
can't
happier
die?
now that I know that.
No, I don't want that.
Did no one
I
else
want
read
him to
that?
be able to die, because then there's the danger, and then it means something.
Yeah, I want dog meat to be able to die.
Why?
Because then it means something. Then when you send him in to a battle or something, then if he might die, there's danger, and then that creates more of a connection.
Good
Yeah,
If
if
anyone
I see
from
like a big
PETA is
nest,
listening, please send your letters to AVForums.com.
if I see a big nest of death claws up ahead, I'm not going to just say, "Oh, dog meat, go on then." I'm going to say, "Wait here, let me deal with this, and I'll come back for you."
Was he immortal last time? I thought he
happen.
just slunk back to the vault, or am I...
No, I think he was
Every time
mortal.
I-
I think he could die properly.
Every time I played it with the junkyard that he found him in, he'd get killed by the bandits who he was fighting in there.
Yeah, he would die, and
It
he would
always happen.
He would only come back if you had a perk called puppies, and you'd have to go back to the junkyard, and you'd get another little dog meat, and he would come back.
I think maybe someone was just trying to brace me for some horrible truth. Go, no, he's fine. He's fine. He's back at the vault. You just can't find him.
He's the big vault in the sky.
So yeah, back to Microsoft.
Back to Microsoft. Okay.
After that, we got the return of Rare. Couple announcements from those guys. We got Rare Replay, which is a collection of 30 Rare titles, which are going to be out on the 4th of August, and it's going to be super cheap. It's got loads of classics in there. A couple missing from licensing issues like GoldenEye and Donkey Kong Country. But other than that, all the old Rare stuff that you love is coming back. So Viva Pinata, once again, living the dream.
A lot of these are the titles that are the first backwards compatible ones, aren't they?
I think so. Like I say, Viva Pinata has come back on the backwards compatibility stuff. I can't remember what else was. Oh yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was on the list as well.
And Cameo, I think, and
Yes.
Perfect Dark.
So there's that, which was super cool. And then there's a new title that they're working on called Son of Thieves, which is a multiplayer game, and it looks like pirates. It had people being chucked off planks and sailing ships and fighting and finding treasure.
X marks the
Freudian
spot where
slip.
Trevor is.
Best have a look at your Trevor map.
It reminded me of Galleon. I don't know if anyone
I know.
remembers Galleon.
I know not of this.
Was that an old PC game?
No, that was the original Xbox. It was the guy, I forget his name, who designed Lara Croft.
Livingston.
Well, perhaps it wasn't him then. Anyway, he went off to do Galleon on the original Xbox, and it was a fantastic game, but it put animation above graphics, so the animation was absolutely fantastic, but the graphics didn't necessarily represent that, and I think it just sold poorly, but it was a brilliant game.
I must say I'm very impressed with Peter Moore's suit. That's what I want. I want to see a well dressed.
He's always dressed well, Peter Moore. He knows what he's doing.
And then by stark contrast, these guys doing Forza, like one dude's in like brown corduroys and some blue shirt. Come on, guys.
Oh, you wait till you see like the Ubisoft conference. They had some weird ass people in that. It was ridiculous. But Son of Thieves, yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's very distinctive, like the art style and stuff. When it came on, you were like, ooh, that is kind of rare-y, I suppose. It's not your typical kind of Microsoft first-party thing. I'm not sure whether it's my sort of thing, but I think a lot of people are just glad that Rare are getting in the game with a good new IP. It's interesting. There's been some talk about it. You know, a lot of people want more Banjo-Kazooie. They want them to just keep doing that same old thing again, like they are still that same studio. But it's nice to see them move on with something new, and we'll see how it goes. What else we got here? Oh, Fable Legends continues to be the game that absolutely nobody is asking for, is what I wrote. Because it is. Every time they show that, everybody goes, why? Who cares?
That's true,
Nobody
and I
cares.
love Fable.
I loved Fable 2 back in the day. I remember sunk so much time into that on the 360. I haven't actually played any of the sequels, so I mean, I'd be interested in a new one.
They've been
No, you
decent, but
wouldn't.
it's the law of diminishing returns, which is the kind of funny accents after a while. You know, it's really easy to get into them and play the sequels, but you know, this idea of like a multiplayer version, just I don't understand who it was that said that's a great idea.
Yeah, you want Fable, and you're with everybody else, Steve. Everybody else wants a Fable game. This isn't really a Fable game as you know it. It's something completely different, which they've slapped the Fable license on.
Right, gotcha.
It's like modern
It's
day
not-
Gauntlet that they've chucked on Fable's kind of funny voices.
Oh, I don't like that.
So anyway, enough time on Fable because it's crap. Then there was HoloLens, and I suppose before that before the show they announced that they're partnering with Oculus and that every Oculus Rift will come with an Xbox One controller, which was kind of interesting.
I've got to say that did bring one of the best whoops, one of the best kind of you know, like expectation whoops of the night when that the infographic comes up. I think it was behind Phil Spencer, which has just got Oculus headset and then the Xbox One controller, and you could tell there were some people in the crowd thinking it's going to work with Xbox One, isn't it? And the crowd started, and you could see him like going, "Do I stop them? Do I stop them?" And then he said,
I'm in too deep.
Oculus
I'm in
Rift-
too deep.
Yeah, every Oculus Rift headset will come with an Xbox One controller.
And they did say that, you know, there would be some integration, but essentially all it boiled down to was you'd put on your Oculus Rift and it would look like you were looking at a 100-inch screen playing an Xbox One game, which nobody wants to do. So there's that.
Did you ever see a tie-up properly between them where it works on the Xbox One? Because there's still no obvious solution that they've got. Everyone else is gearing up for something. So it just seems like that's the first step down the road to me.
I think the thing here, this is more like Oculus trying to reduce the amount of hardware they've got to produce. They've got enough problem trying to get out the headset. So I think it's more for them looking for a stable partner, going, who can we go with that will make the extra peripherals we need?
Yeah.
And I know they're coming out with their little crazy handsets, but an Xbox pad, the 360 pad was the default controller of the last PC generation, shall we say. So it makes sense that they want to go with, right, let's go for another stable, tried and tested solution rather than... I really don't like the look of Valve's controller. It could play nice, but it just really freaks me out. And I don't think they want to go down that R&D route that will probably cost them millions.
Yeah, I think it's more sinister. I think that Microsoft are doing the same thing they tried to do with like HD DVD. They're trying to just like uncertain the market so that nobody really goes anywhere until they've got HoloLens ready to come in. Because they've also partnered with Valve. That was another thing that they said at the conference. So what did they say? Windows 10 is the best place for VR.
Yeah.
So they've got partnerships with Valve. They've got partnerships with Oculus. Yet they're working on HoloLens in the background. And it's kind of like HD DVD. They backed that, but they didn't really believe in that. They kind of just wanted to pause the market until digital distribution came in enough, because that's really where they were going with it. I feel like this is the same sort of thing. They don't really want to do VR, but they kind of don't want it to let it get too popular.
But I think what you see from HoloLenses, and this is what I've been saying for a while, is that VR and AR are two completely separate things. Like VR is like, yeah, you've got your 100-foot screen in front of you, but then AR, I really was blown away by that Minecraft demo. I mean, I've dabbled in Minecraft, but the actual fact that it's there on the table in front of you, like your table, I think that's something that you can't do with Oculus. It's a completely different sort of experience, and I think hopefully that goes along the first step of showing other devs that you've got to think about this differently. This is a different playground for your design features.
Yeah, definitely. And Steve, if you haven't seen this, like seriously, just pull up the Minecraft demo. It's pretty crazy.
Let's get it up now. Yeah,
I'm confused as to what's happening. So is he playing Minecraft in his head and we can see it on the table, or is he actually seeing what's happening on the table?
He's seeing. There's two people. So he's playing Minecraft, and then he's asked somebody else to join his game. So and then he pops it on the table so he can see the other player in the world in real time.
He's playing God.
Yeah, essentially.
Right. Okay. I
already like his outfit.
I can't remember what he was wearing. But it was very impressive, and I think they kind of baited and switched everybody as well. They did the same Oculus thing, like, you can play Minecraft on your wall, it's great. And everyone was like, oh, why do we care? This is awful. And then they went, but let's put it on the coffee table, and it raises out of the coffee table, and everyone was like, oh my god.
Okay, let me just get to this point.
It was like next level.
So he sat playing it. Listener, I will talk you through it. He sat playing it on the wall. In fact, we'll just stick a link in the thing. So, okay, here we go. He's moving over to the table. You don't want to do that. You want to do this.
That is pretty crazy.
The level literally just comes out of the table.
Yeah, it's next level. It's good stuff.
This is cool. We got a little bit of camera movement as well, just to really show off. Goodness me. You're right, James. This is something that stands alone from all of that other headset malarkey that we got going on. The headset arms race. I mean, this is just totally different to all of that stuff.
And I almost felt sorry for like Oculus and everyone else in terms of the VR department, because it's so hard to demo VR, because it is just a screen on your face, and it's hard to get that across in a press conference, where I think AR, at least, you can have that motion, you can have that surprise toy popping out of the table. It's a bit more of a wow factor.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, we've had this conversation before, but I've said, HoloLens is the one that I'm most interested in, because I'm not really, I haven't tried VR, but I'm just not sold on the complete immersion, cutting yourself off, and I'd prefer to and I think there's just more to be done in relation to real games with AR, things bleeding outside of the screen and bringing things into the real world.
This is sort of a step beyond the second screen, isn't it? This is a kind of a dimension beyond that.
But doesn't it all depend on the games, though?
Of course,
We've been here before.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Thus far, all we've seen is Minecraft. All we can really kind of envisage is something where you almost like micromanagement, that kind of thing. It will require something more than that to get people to invest in it.
Definitely. It feels like something that you could be really creative with, It feels like somebody had the idea, why don't we have the world come up from the table?
He's showing this subterranean world underneath his kind of village that he's built now. It's just... it's so impressive.
Yeah, it's cool. But we've been recording for ages, so let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay, fine.
The last thing in the conference was Gears 4. They announced that Gears Ultimate Edition is a thing. It's coming out at the end of August. Remaster of the first Gears of War game.
I don't think any surprises there. Was anyone surprised to see that?
No, worst kept secret ever.
Yeah.
And there's a beta that's live now. And then they showed Gears 4. There was a mission from it, which looked like Gears of War. And it looked quite good. It looked very dark and moody, and there were things being chainsawed. It's good.
Which I've heard that Gears of War is coming to PC.
Ooh, that I do not know.
Gears of War Remastered coming to PC.
I don't know.
What is that? Not that I'd be interested, because they look really boring. But
what? No.
Thank you for saying that, Niall.
It just strikes me as another third-person cover.
Do you know what?
Thank you. We'll end the conversation there. Right? It's split jury, 2-2 on either side.
Because to be fair, I do. One of my favourite ever games is a third-person cover shooter, Spec Ops: The Line.
Yes,
but at least that had something to say. Gears of War is just like, I'm going to chainsaw stuff in the face for a bit.
Did you really just say Spec Ops: The Line is better than Gears of War?
Yeah, I did.
Spec Ops: The Line is so far beyond Gears of War. It's not even a comparison.
Yep.
Oh, come on!
Some of the best co-op experience I've ever had has been on Gears, and I implore anyone to try it because games are always better with your buddies, right?
Always better.
Exactly.
Everyone's loving the new beta.
And
It's
do you know
kind
what?
of like
I go on about this a lot, but one of my favourite things to do on the Xbox 360 was replace the soundtracks. I used to listen to a lot of Metallica or Rage Against the Machine when I was playing Gears. Can you do that on the Xbox One?
not yet. So yeah, that was the Microsoft conference. They're still announcing stuff. They're showing off the new dashboard that's coming with Windows 10. And there's all sorts of other little things. But that was Microsoft. So there you go.
Okay.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Mark, I feel like we should give Leon a break. And which of the conferences did you cover for the website?
I did Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, and Square Enix.
Should we?
Got to do Sony.
Yeah, should we jump to Sony? The big one that I think we'd all given up hope on. The Last Guardian.
I was going to say there were three kind of big fan announcements. The first one was The Last Guardian. That it's not.
Had you given up hope? I thought we'd all given up hope.
I never gave up hope.
Come on. Part of you thought it was long gone.
No, every day I gave a little speech like Morgan Freeman at the end of Shawshank Redemption. I hope to see the ocean
while polishing your
The Last Guardian.
Very good. Okay.
No, it's alive and well, or at least it's alive.
What was the reaction? I'm intrigued because I'm sure you weren't alone, but I would say the majority of us had given up that this was ever going to see the light of day.
I think there were plenty of rumours beforehand. There were plenty of rumours that this was going to be the year it reappeared.
Right.
And I almost get the feeling the way that the chap on stage was announcing the opening, he knew that people knew as well, because he was teasing it something rotten before they actually played the VT.
Right.
They must know, but then that rumour goes round every year now. I make the same prediction every year. This is the year.
If you throw enough darts, you'll eventually get a bullseye.
Well, did they even acknowledge that it had been in limbo? Did they give any reason? Did they just say it's still coming?
No, it's just I don't think. I mean, they've kind of danced around the idea that it was kind of either canned or in development limbo, or it was kind of in stasis for a while or something. Yeah. They've had to kind of come out and say no, it's not canned, but don't say that we're working on it, or all these kind of things for a long time. But we finally got to see some gameplay, and it looks kind of very similar to the kind of little teasers that we've seen before. It seems very much the spiritual successor to Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, and yeah, it looks fantastic. It's pretty much exactly what fans wanted.
So my worry was that it seemed very scripted. I don't know necessarily if that segment, it looked wonderful, and if that's the aim that they're going for in terms of gameplay, that looks fantastic, but it didn't look like that open or that intuitive, because I mean right at the end the boy has to take a leap of faith, and pretty much the bird dog grabs him with his tail at the last minute, and it didn't seem like it was something you knew, or didn't seem like an intuitive puzzle. It just didn't seem to flow that well. So while it's nice that it's returned, it actually didn't instill that much confidence in the game itself to me.
No, I'm exactly with you there. It almost looked like this was kind of like a tech demo that they've been sat on for some time. Like, this was what they'd taken shots from previously. This was what kind of represented how it would feel. But this didn't actually represent what the game would be.
Yeah, which makes me worry for the 2016 release date they then flashed up at the end.
Yeah, that seems kind of quite optimistic. If it was 2016, you'd expect to see something different. You'd expect to see something new.
Yes.
So,
considering Uncharted 4, which we'll get to later, has got the same time frame, it looks a mile off from that.
Yeah, I think there will be some kind of doubts about this, how good it'll be, simply because what people are expecting isn't just kind of like a competent game in the style of, it looks to be similar to Ico in the way that it works with an ally system, but people are expecting something that's genuinely inspired, something that has that little spark, and you can't just say, yeah, that'll be out in a year. I think it almost would have been better. It would have disappointed people, but it almost would have been better if they'd said it'll be ready when it's ready, hopefully, towards the end of 2016. I think that would have given them a little bit more time.
Do you think it could ever live up to the expectation?
Probably not now. However, having said that, if you're judging it in comparison to the two previous Team Ico games, then no. But if you're judging it in comparison to what else is on the PS4 and what else looks to be on the schedule for the PS4, then easily. I think, that it's wide open. And I think that's possibly one reason why they've kind of ploughed ahead with this, because there's a kind of huge disparity between what Fumito Ueda might want and what Sony would need in that kind of repertoire of games. Yeah. There's a huge hole there.
I think that what disappointed me, because although I might be sort of slightly more in the Microsoft camp in some respects, I'm an owner of 2 PlayStation 4s, which hopefully gives you some idea where my gaming priorities lie. One at work, one at home.
Of course.
What do you do when you have to play at work? I was slightly disappointed that a lot of the big announcements were not for this year. I came away from a lot of this conference not necessarily seeing what I'd be playing on the PlayStation this Christmas. And I think Final Fantasy was a great example of that, because great announcement, but no time frame, no sort of window, no even speculation of when it might come out. It was just, here's a trailer. And I think, almost as Mark touched upon, this seems to almost be in reaction to what happened last year with the other Final Fantasy VII. So if this has just been kickstarted in the last 6 months to counteract last year's bad feeling, when on earth is it going to be out?
But I think perhaps, maybe that's the reason why they kind of enlisted Treyarch, why they brought on Black Ops 3, was because they needed something that kind of showed this is what you're actually going to be playing this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that actually I've got to say I didn't fully understand with regards to the Microsoft show. The backwards compatibility was a great feature, but for the first time in a long time, Microsoft really had the upper hand with saying this is what you're going to be playing in the next 6 months. So the idea that then you say, oh, by the way, you can also play that game on your Xbox 360 from 6 years ago, just seems a little bit odd. If you're selling that console for what you're going to be playing in the next 6 months, the Xbox One looks like the better choice. And that's why Sony wheeled out Black Ops 3. There was a great demo of Star Wars Battlefront, which I've got to say that's shaping up to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just firing up the little trailer for that now.
It looks stunning as well.
Look at the multiplayer gameplay on that.
Okay. Right.
I'm just going to turn your mic down at this point.
Yep.
I don't want to poo-poo Star Wars Battlefront, because
we won't poo-poo.
I think I'm
let's
gonna
move on.
But you, Mark, okay. You pointing my finger. You're not.
I feel you jabbing your finger at the sky.
You're not really. Let's be honest. You're not really Mr. First-Person Shooter. You'll play a first-person shooter, but you'll like the idea of it. But you won't. You're not playing it every night, every day. That's not really your sort of game. True or false?
No, I think that's fair. If we're talking about multiplayer, definitely.
Okay. So, Star Wars Battlefront, a multiplayer shooter. It's a DICE multiplayer shooter. And I feel like a lot of people are getting very wrapped up in the fact that it's Star Wars, which is fine. But I feel like a lot of people are going to play that game and then go, right, so now that I've seen the X-Wings fly past and I've seen the AT-AT fall over and whatnot, it's now a multiplayer shooter, a DICE multiplayer shooter. And I'm not a huge fan of these, or these don't hold my attention for long periods of time. And that's the end of Battlefront for me.
Right, I take your point and I disregard it. Right, okay.
Nice one, Mark.
Lightsabers.
I like it.
Okay. B,
Okay.
have you heard the blaster noises?
Just the animations on
They're
these
spectacular.
stormtroopers.
And C, we've got aerial combat in there.
Again.
Have you seen them bring down an AT-AT?
I've seen all of this, and my problem with this trailer is that it's a very scripted multiplayer trailer. It's one of these trailers I've seen a million times before. Like, you can make a Battlefield trailer like that, where everybody in that match is doing a role, everybody is doing something, he pans his camera, and someone has conveniently done something at exactly the right time, so it looks great. The person who's flying the X-Wing flies it underneath the AT-AT, and it's like, Okay, all of that is possible,
Come on,
yes.
we can't criticise him for making an engaging, exciting piece of gameplay trailer.
What do you want to see him doing? Shooting his own side and then teabagging someone?
But this is the problem. In reality, like, someone would have clicked the AT-AT and just, like, hit the ground. There'd be people just,
a bunch of messages of abuse coming up at the bottom of the screen.
But I'm just saying, it was a great trailer and it evokes Star Wars fantastically. But I feel like the reality of the game will be a little bit of a shock to some people. That's what I'm saying.
I think that the sheer kind of nostalgia factor, the sheer kind of the Star Wars skin will be enough to hold people for a month. I don't think this is the kind of game that people who you know what, it's not going to hold you for 6 months, a year, in the same way that people who go out and buy COD or Battlefield or that kind of thing tend to stick with. This is just going to be something a little bit like most people who are kind of just had an interest in it, played Destiny. I've played through the story, I've played through, a bit of online, I'll jump back to it every once in a while. Once or twice a month you'll go back to this.
I tell you what that game could do. That game could raise the bar for DLC. You could see so many different missions, throwbacks that they can just drip feed over time.
Players Ewoks.
Yeah.
They're gonna raise the bar. They're also gonna raise your wallet as well, mate. Don't you worry about that. I see. Hey, they got you covered.
But if someone is sort of looking for that sort of playable experience from all of these different Star Wars scenarios over the years, I just think the DLC is something that you probably would be well into, and you'll happily sort of drop a few quid on it every 6 weeks or however often they put it. I'm interested to see it, and I'm just going to delete that whole section that you just said.
I think the point is it's the attention to detail. That's it. People have been wanting to play a Star Wars game like this for a long time, where they feel like you can't see the kind of places where there's been artistic license used, where someone's had to kind of work around what the console can do. This looks like everything is rendered and it's perfectly
on the next generation as well. Crucially, it just looks like nothing that's been before. That's what's so special about it.
Yeah, I'm going to put out a prediction now. I think this will have the best sound for a next gen game. Did you hear? They even stuck in a Wilhelm scream in there.
Did they really?
Yes, genuinely. It sounds phenomenal.
Right. Let's just apologise to all our neighbours now. Okay.
Last thing. Shall I just clip off last thing on the Sony show? I suppose I should say Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Which
is it good news or is it bad news?
It's Uncharted, but prettier. What do people expect at this point?
It was a weird demo, though, because apart from it breaking, it just seemed to be them in a Jeep for most of it. I think almost in the same way that Lara wasn't really representative of what the game is probably going to be. Uncharted 4, they just seem to be driving down a hill wisecracking for most of it.
Yeah, I put in my write-up, it was like Crazy Taxi. That's basically it. I was getting kind of flashbacks of Crazy Taxi.
All right. But did it
Madness.
look the part?
It looked really good. It did look really good.
Sully doesn't look like Sully anymore. It's like him being old, supposed to be his entire face has been restructured by gravity.
Time has been unkind to him.
It
happens to the best of us.
Person.
We can't all be 21-year-old whippersnappers like yourself, living out of a Holiday Inn.
It's an easy life. It's an easy life.
I'm just quickly scanning your report. No Man's Sky. Is there anything that needs to be said about No Man's Sky?
Just that I'm starting to have a few little doubts.
Shocker! Didn't see this coming. Who would have thought that?
They're just not doing themselves any favours. Like, every demo is the same. It's like, look, you can go into an atmosphere and you land your ship and take off. And it's like, okay, we know that. Could you, just stop with these demos and have an actual, this is what you do in the game demo?
I think that the whole thing is, I think that is going to be a game that, almost to hark back to Elite here, is going to rely upon trading, is going to rely upon resources, that kind of thing. And they're just keeping that really close to their chests right now. And so therefore, it's almost like, we've known about this thing that there's, like a trillion planets or whatever like this. But if there's very little shown to do on any one of them, it's better just give us half a dozen planets. Make those in depth. The idea that you can go to, so many different ones, but you've not shown any reason to do so, then, what's the point of Discovery?
As far as I can see, Discovery is meant to be its own reward in the game, and you do get some things for doing that, and you're trying to get to the centre of the galaxy, but he keeps saying that and not saying why, how, or...
Well, there is a narrative. They've been trying to keep this under wraps, which is there's supposedly something at the centre of the galaxy, or there's kind of some being or something like that, and these are all kind of things they've kind of, should we say, they've kind of hedged their bets here. They've tried to speak in very vague terms. There's clearly some kind of a narrative. There's clearly some kind of reason to go there, because if it's all just procedurally generated, and you don't have enough kind of variables in that, then a million different types of dog-like animal that just looks slightly different from one another isn't going to drive people on to keep playing.
So they need to start giving us more details.
Yeah. Other than that, Sony show Dreams, the new Media Molecule game, looks absolutely fantastic. Again, not much detail on what it's.
What is the game though?
Yeah, that's the point.
It's almost like a digital clay, and then you can animate it slightly. And don't get me wrong, it looks fantastic. I just want to know, is it a toy? Is this a tech demo for something that goes further than that? Is this like where the next Little Big Planet is going? But you can't fault them for trying. I really like the way Media Molecule try things. I would just like to know where this game is heading.
Yeah, you do feel that there will come a point with Media Molecule almost where they kind of go over the cliff of what people expect from a game. They're heading for something so artistic and so beautiful that people say, but what's the actual reason that I'm playing it at this point? I'm sure that you can make some phenomenal things in this, but unless you give people kind of a reason to play, creation for the sake of it, there are tools on the PC, there are tools that, available to people to use anyway for that kind of thing. Just the ease of use of being able to do that on a console, I'm not fully sure what the reason is that people are going to kind of engage with this kind of thing.
One thing we haven't mentioned in Sony's, which is probably one of my favourite games that I've seen at any of the conferences, was Horizon Zero Dawn. From Guerrilla, who was it Killzone?
Where did they make these names up from?
I think they've run out. They basically have to check
it's like some randomizer.
I think they do it like David Bowie used to do his lyrics. Cut up words from the newspaper.
It looks good. This is in the same way that Fallout 4 is post-apocalyptic. This is post-apocalyptic, where the world seems to have fallen into disrepair, but humans aren't just getting used to that. They've got used to it, and so you play this almost tribal, like Stone Age tribe, trying to make their way in the world, trying to fend off animals, trying to survive. Except all the animals are robots. So you have like robot deer and robot dinosaur type creatures running around, and you have to try and take them down with bow and arrow. And it just really captured my imagination. I really love the aesthetic of it, and it seems quite different from a lot of the other games that seem to be knocking around, and obviously quite a departure from the Killzone aspect that the Guerrilla have been doing over the last few years.
It was one of the better trailers. It was, protracted gameplay.
Yeah, but I really liked the way they showed it, though, because the hunting evolved in the sense that you could, just fire your bow and arrow, but then for the bigger creatures, you had to try and tie them down with ropes, and then in the classic game style, because, well, it's a game at the end of the day, so we shouldn't knock it for it, go for the weak spot, go for the weak underbelly. And it looked like it made bringing down a big creature not a formality of going through the boss steps, but actually having to go through that Monster Hunter style of seeking out its weakness, try to pin it down, try to get to its vulnerable areas.
See, I like, as you said, it is a game after all. I really love the fact that they seem to almost be acknowledging in what they showed that this was a game. There seemed to be a lot of titles with trailers that almost tried to kind of hedge around, like with that phrase, revolutionising the way you play. And you think it won't really. It will fall down on some basic mechanics that we've played many times before. And I think Horizon Zero Dawn just showed that, but just showed it in a stylish enough way that you'd want to play it.
Yeah, even to the point where it brought up the weapon select menu. It's like going, okay, yes, this is someone actually trying to show us how it would happen. Unlike Last Guardian, which... edged on a tech demo.
And it was a female protagonist. I mean, that was a big kind of thing last year. Not enough women at the show or on show through the games. And there seemed to be quite a few more this year.
Yeah, they all seemed to make a point of it, didn't they? Fallout, you can play as a woman. All sorts of games were saying, female protagonist, which is good.
I thought they danced around it a fair bit. You know, no one actually wanted to come out and say, "See, we've done it."
Yeah.
but it's just
Stop talking about it now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Shall we need to talk about Ubisoft. Is there anything exciting about EA? Where should we go next with this?
I think I was originally penciled in to cover the EA press conference before work intervened, but I think I tried to write it up for you before it happened, and looking at it, I think I was quite close.
Nice. What did you say, that it would be boring and rubbish?
Prediction, reel out football legend.
Need for Speed, NHL, NBA, NFL, Minions. The Minions mobile phone game, I think I missed off by a mile. But for me, it was Mirror's Edge that at least was the high point of their EA press conference. Whoa. Especially the fact they confirmed that they weren't going to give Faith a gun. That was my big worry, that to try and compete in the modern market, they'd crumble and collapse and give her some firearms. But I'm really looking forward to see how a complete, just free-running, hand-to-hand combat Faith could actually run.
Doing it wrong anyway.
Yeah, did anyone get the achievement for finishing it with what was it called, pacifist or something? You didn't use any guns at all. It was all hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, it was all fairly doable, except for there's one bit where it just gets annoying.
Dude at the end, wasn't it? Fairly sure there's one right at the end that was just a real pain in the arse.
Possibly, there's also some bit in the middle where you've got to run and jump, which is obviously
maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
there's a bit in Mirror's Edge where you have to run and jump.
Yeah, but it's in the middle. It's like a circular thing, and everybody's shooting at you, and it's just easy just to shoot people first. But anyway,
how long do I have to wait?
Next year, early February, there's something.
Yeah, February
I could live
23rd, I think, from the write-up.
I can live with that.
But it looks good. Origin stories of Faith. And it was a very, very much. I'm kind of getting sick of the there is no personal freedom storyline, but it looks appropriate for Mirror's Edge because that's what it is. It looks good. Let's just say about EA for a start, they need to have an EA Sports press conference.
You don't have to sit through it.
Yes, they need to stop, because nobody cares that you're making another NFL, another FIFA, another NHL, another NBA. Nobody cares.
I was genuinely wondering how you were going to write up the bit about football, about FIFA.
I think he managed to cram all the sports games into about 6 lines.
One paragraph.
Do you know what I wonder? I suspect that they know that they don't really need to go and announce, and I suspect they know that no one's really going to be that excited about it. I wonder if it's contractual as part of the deals with FIFA, with the NHL, that they have to make a big thing or be seen to be making a big thing of these licenses.
I mean, it's not that they're not worth it, because they're big games and people like them, but it's like, who are you talking to? The people who want to play FIFA, they already know probably all of this. They're going to go out and seek this information. They don't need a 2-minute blast of it in a press conference or a 10-minute blast of it.
I don't think that the majority of them are even going to seek it out. They will just turn up. They'll read in the paper that it's out next week, and they'll go, okay, it's that time of year. I need to go and buy it again. And they'll just go and buy it.
And they're going through minutiae. They're going through like, the defensive plays are this, and the attacking's this, and the physics this. And it's like, I don't care. Nobody cares.
But that's the trouble of releasing the same concept year after year after year. And you see that Call of Duty is is suffering from the same thing, where they have to try and differentiate. At least they've got a solo story mode they can try and hang their hat on with that, or maybe take it more futuristic or pull it back. But it's still, at the end of the day, you shoot people and here are the bullet points why this is different. And I guess if there was if EA just had FIFA or EA just had NFL, it would be different. They could make one big song and dance about their major key franchise. But the fact they've got 5 different sports games, that's where the tedium of a press conference kicks in, because you don't care by the time you get to the 5th one what has changed in the animation system.
Yeah.
Definitely. So they did that. They did all their sports stuff. They opened with Mass Effect, though. That was cool.
Now, I'm surprised that you're not more excited about this, or at least not pimping it.
I can't be more excited because it was a trailer. Literally, they opened with Mass Effect and then said nothing. Right. It was just, hey, watch this trailer, now let's see the rest of the press conference.
Let's take a look. I'm going to have a quick look.
There was a lot of that this year where people would say, here's the announcement, and then they'd say, I think one even said, tune in 2016 for more information.
Oh my God.
I'll clear my calendar then.
It's like, why? Why bother? And don't get me wrong, it looked great. It was a bit hyped when they all do those trailers where the first 10 seconds you're like, oh, is it? And you go, yes, it is. It is Mass Effect. And you had that, but then beyond that, it's like, right, so there's a Mako and there are planets and you shoot things and see you next year.
There's a real formula to it now, though, isn't there? Which is ambiguous object or something, show some things that could be anything for about 10, 15 seconds. Quickly, there's something I recognise, then a few other things, and then just close it.
Yeah, then just show the dude in the Mass Effect uniform. And it's just like, oh, okay, fair enough then.
Looks like, or sounds like they've raided the Transformers sound effect library.
In what way?
It's just all modulated and it's like there was one in the room, wasn't there?
Just like the guy from Police Academy.
What was his name again? I bet you know, don't you?
Oh,
Jonesy.
No.
Jonesy.
Was it Hightower?
No, not
Hightower.
Dear, oh dear.
There was something Berry. What was his name?
This is a great
Tackleberry.
Anyway.
Tackleberry.
No,
I know, but Tackleberry, Hightower, and I'm sure Jonesy was a sound effect dude from. All right, hang on. To Google.
Getting that confused with Dad's Army.
Sound effect dude from.
Is this going to be one of those moments where you're playing the music in the background while everyone types?
They should get the guy from Police Academy to present it next year.
I'm telling you that would be the way. You could just provide all the sound effects for Mass Effect 4. Lavelle Jones. So there you go. It was.
That wasn't the character name.
That was the character name. Yeah. Lavelle Jones.
One thing that I've just noticed, I've been going through the trailers while you were looking for that, and one thing that does look cool is that Unravel.
Yes.
That sounds right up my street and looks right up my street.
Is this the very cute looking one?
Yeah, it was very un-EA part of the presentation. When the guy first came on, I'll be honest, I was like, oh, what is this? He was very nervous and very excited. But then when he finally started, and he took ages to get to the point, but when he finally started showing us the game, it looks kind of cool. It looks almost like EA is doing a little bit of what Ubisoft are doing with stuff like Child of Light and Valiant.
Well, I'm sorry, this dude has easily got the worst outfit so far. And what that green t-shirt is doing with those navy pants and a black jacket, horrendous.
And interesting hand tattoos, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
He
was the most endearing thing, I think, to appear on stage, though. Because he was obviously quite, as you say, nervous, but equally he was talking, obviously, about a very passionate project that was close to his heart.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of felt that.
I mean, is he colourblind? I mean, what on earth is this house?
Did you get dressed in the dark?
He's opening his heart on stage, and all you can do is pick holes in his wardrobe.
Fashion police. Can you hear them on their way?
So yeah, cute platformer, which almost looked a little bit like what's that Sony thing with the Sackboy?
What's that
Sony thing?
Almost looked a little bit like that, but it wasn't really. It looks quite cool.
Do they show any gameplay? I'm just whizzing through. I'm not seeing. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's right at the end.
Definitely like a side-scrolly platformer.
Yeah, it takes ages to get there, but
I hope this is like the start of something new for EA as well. In the same way that Ubisoft went with the Ubi art and started doing smaller games that might have got a little more heart to them. Maybe this is the start of that. Unravel.
I will read you the top-rated comment on the YouTube.
Oh God!
It's good to see some humans are still making games as opposed to money-powered robots that seem to run most gaming companies. And that's directed at EA, so I mean, surely a huge compliment for them.
To be called robots.
Okay, cool. Well, that's EA. Should we move on to Ubisoft? I think that is the last big one we need to cover. I mean, God knows how long this poddy's going to be. Listener, are you still with us, listener?
PC gaming show.
Oh yeah, PC gaming. You should do Nintendo because I didn't see that.
Shall we run through Ubisoft in like a couple of minutes? South Park: The Stick of Truth sequel.
Oh, I did see that actually.
Yes.
What's this one's called, Mark?
The Fractured Butthole. It's childish, but I'll be honest, it makes me laugh. This one's going to be superhero theme. Genuinely looking forward to this one. I thought they absolutely nailed Stick of Truth. It did everything it needed to do. Other than that, from Ubisoft, new IP, shock horror, For Honor. Looks like a medieval combat game. Looked good from the demonstration. Might be question marks over depth, but we'll see with that one.
For Honor looks really cool actually. It looks kind of like Dynasty Warriors-ish, but medieval, which I could get down with.
It looks pretty kind of brutal with the melee combat. I think the question mark over that will be how it works with regards things like the AI, because anything like that where you've got several friends playing alongside you, and then if you've got to have hundreds of cannon fodder, if they're too easy to carve through, then it's terrible. If they're too hard, then it's terrible. That's a kind of fine balancing act.
I do love some sword combat though.
Oh, everyone does. Other than that, Tom Clancy's The Division.
The Division.
Yes, it's back.
So scripted.
Did it ever arrive?
Well, it's back in the sense that it actually looks like gameplay now.
I see. Is this its third E3? Anyone count it? I think it is its third, isn't it?
I think I remember seeing it at Gamescom 3 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. I will let you have that one.
There was a reveal where it looked phenomenal, and then I think they went a little bit quiet when somebody at Ubisoft said, "We can't make it look like that." It's come back. It looks decent. We got a bit of multiplayer, obviously. A little bit of proper gameplay. Looks interesting with regards to the fact that you can double cross people and stuff like that. But that was always likely to be on the cards. My only worry with this is the fact that, should we say, that they're painting it as this kind of grand Machiavellian thing where you fight alongside someone and then, you can double cross them at the last minute to get their loot. Whereas if GTA Online has taught me anything, it's that people will just shoot you in the face anyway.
Yeah.
There's
nothing random about that, is there?
No one's saying, shall we team up with these guys? But by the time you've worked that out, they've already shot you. Looks decent.
Do you think it looks decent? I don't think it looks a patch on some of the other stuff that we've seen. It looks the most basic of them all. I dare say...
What, The Division?
Yeah, it doesn't look pretty at all in comparison to some of the stuff we've seen.
Looks a bit boring as
It
well.
looks quite boring, doesn't it?
In terms of the scale that they're going for, I think, and in terms of how they want it to kind of shift, I still think it looks all right.
I don't know. I don't get the vibe of that scale you described from this trailer. I don't see the.
They cut it poorly. I think that was one of. Yeah, it wasn't a well-made trailer.
Surely they acknowledge that the fact they cannot afford to do things poorly with a game like this. It's as much about saving face as it is about seeing the thing through.
They've got a big enough hype machine, haven't they?
Yeah, that's true, I suppose.
They've supported Assassin's Creed long enough. We also got Just Dance 2016.
Oh.
Yeah, you can now use your smartphone for that rather than a camera.
There's hot new tracks in Europe.
Yes. From there, what else did we have? Ghost Recon is back.
Yeah, open world Ghost Recon.
Yes.
What is it with open world?
Because everything's open world, because that's where the money is.
Explain. Did we decide there was a difference between open world and sandbox?
You'd need an open world to have a sandbox.
It looks pretty good.
So has it stepped away from the advanced warfighter element? Has it gone back to quite slow and traditional?
No.
It's not slow and traditional.
Not from what I'm seeing.
I've clicked on the trailer and the first thing I see is a man not even parachuting, just hurling himself out of the plane.
I just seen a man throw another man in a boot of a car and then smash his hand into the boot of the car.
Yeah, it was a lot of vehicles from what I remember.
Not very nice.
Which was odd.
Not very nice.
We've done Ubisoft, we've done EA, we've done Bethesda. done Microsoft, we've done PS3. Is there anything else to cover?
Nintendo, Squeenix.
Nintendo. Did they have a little hot dog stand in the car park, or did they do something meaningful, Mark?
They were just selling amiibos out the back of a car. The best part was that they opened up with some Jim Henson puppets of Miyamoto, Reggie, and Iwata, and there was just this weird. I mean, last year didn't they have the Adult Swim stop motion animation with the cartoons and stuff in between the segments? But this year it was just the Muppet Show. So they basically got collected from their dressing rooms and sort of like were walking towards the stage, and then they all turned into Starfox characters. It was if the puppets weren't weird enough, the fact they then morphed into Fox, the rabbit, and the bird was just bizarre.
Reggie's puppet is horrifying.
You say horrifying, but I can equally see it being a lead character in a game all of itself. It's well,
This is ridiculous.
If you haven't seen this, listener, please head straight to YouTube and pull it up, because if I told you this had happened at Sony or Microsoft, you would not believe me. But somehow Nintendo have just morphed into this fun-loving company.
Star Fox Zero. For once, I mean, give them some credit. They're actually touting a use for the gamepad. So, yeah, that's something. With the gyro and a different perspective on it. So, that's something. Beyond that, I'm afraid it was a pretty poor.
Presumably, Mario Maker was shown off.
Shown off is I think a bit strong. It was a very kind of strange, not even a conference, the presentation. With things like Mario Maker, they played a lot. I mean, Nintendo are kind of receding to a place now where they're having to rely on personalities and saying, look, Shigeru Miyamoto, he's smiling. Remember us. We made all these great games. I mean, the Mario Maker, they were kind of emphasizing how Miyamoto came up with ideas and how they used to sketch things. The same with Yoshi's Woolly World. They talked to the woman who made the first Yawn, Yoshi. It was just kind of all round just a little bit of an odd presentation.
There were games. It just seemed to be quite. Considering how strong they opened with the personality of the three leads of the company and how they kept carrying on with the Muppets skits in between, it felt like it was going better than it did in hindsight, because I think a lot of the personality carried it through, and it did unveil things like you can use the amiibos in Skylanders, which is interesting, and there was a new Zelda Four Swords game for the 3DS and a new Hyrule Warriors game for the 3DS. And actually a Metroid Prime shooter for the 3DS, but none of them in and of themselves seem like strong contenders to really rise Nintendo up the E3 rankings. They just seem like okay handheld games that they'd actually just slapped their IP on.
This is the problem. I mean, particularly with Metroid Prime, that's where they've annoyed a lot of fans. Because there was this assumption, there were rumours going around that, there might be a new Prime game, and everyone just naturally assumed, well, you know what, the Wii U gamepad is almost designed for that kind of title. If there's one thing that it should work for, it would be a Metroid Prime game, and Metroid Prime Federation Force on the 3DS. I mean, it doesn't look bad as the idea if it's just like a little throwaway game that you can play for a bit, but it doesn't deserve to have Metroid Prime put next to it.
It's not a Metroid game.
And I would genuinely suggest anyone go to the YouTube video of it to look at the number of downvotes.
Yeah.
and some of the comments.
Do you think Metroid Prime Blast Ball had anything to do with that?
Yeah, turning Metroid into an e-sport.
Even Star Fox looks like it's sort of 5-6 years old.
I was just going to say, there was a point where kind of what Nintendo were doing looked great and it was fun to play. And now it's almost like they've kind of retreated to a place where they say, well, no, we're kind of, from the high point of saying we will put gameplay over graphics, and that's fine, but when you're then kind of retreating even further to the 3DS, it's almost like they've kind of cut out the Wii U, I think strangely this conference just indicated the fact that the NX is probably a little bit closer than people thought. That things like Zelda being delayed probably means that it's a case like Twilight Princess on the Wii and the GameCube, which is they need a big title. They realise that if you want an underpowered console to launch well, launch it with a Zelda at least.
Okay, cool. Well, look, I guess we're at a point where we can start summarising and wrapping up. And am I going to be that guy and ask if there was a winner?
It's probably going to be Fallout, isn't it?
The gamer. The gamer.
Those are the winners. Well, I'm most excited to see Fallout, and the fact that it's coming this November, I can almost touch it. Very excited, guys. Leon, I'll throw it to you. What are you most looking forward to?
I think I'm with you on Fallout. I think that was what I went into E3 wanting to see the most, and possibly the one thing that I was most impressed by. If I had to pick like my favourite press conference, I really think Bethesda was the one. I suppose it had everything going for it because it was first, and it had Fallout and Doom, and Dishonored was in there as well. So out of all of them, I think for a games lineup, I think that was probably the press conference I enjoyed the most, maybe. But beyond that, I think there was stuff there for everybody. Really, everybody wants to pick a winner and say who won out of Microsoft and Sony, but I think it's more down to you than it is anything else. The announcements of like Final Fantasy and Shenmue and Last Guardian don't do anything for me, but I acknowledge that they're like collective megatons for people who care about that sort of thing.
Only one of which is an exclusive, though.
Yeah, this is true. But at the same time, I'm sure there are people who don't really care about backwards compatibility and Gears and Halo. So, whatever you like, I'm not going to hate.
James, I'll throw it to you.
I think the Guerrilla game, the Horizon, that was probably the thing that captured me most. Out of all the new IPs and new everything that was announced, I think that was what captured my attention most.
That was a PS4 exclusive, right?
I guess it's
Guerrilla,
Guerrilla, so I would guess PS4
Okay.
exclusive. Although, if people want to recommend Rare Replay, I'm not going to shy away from that either.
I never know with you. I don't know whether it's something we publicise or whether we don't or whether we keep quiet. I mean,
I prefer to tend to keep it under my hat because then I can't get bollocks at work for it.
okay, Niall, what's your highlight of the show?
I was really excited to see XCOM 2, and especially with it being PC exclusive as well.
Oh, screw you.
So, very excited. I think it's going to be amazing. Because I absolutely love the first one. So.
Oh, and we didn't on the consoles. We're fine.
But the thing is, when I saw the sales figures for it, and on consoles it just sold really poorly, and I have no idea why. Because it works fine. But PC exclusive, beautiful, exactly what I wanted. Nice. That's it.
Mark, your highlight of the show?
Well, Fallout 4, I think that was pre-E3, so there wasn't a great deal. Probably news that the mods on the Xbox One were going to be available. I think that was something I didn't expect.
I'm intrigued about that. Picturing that, how that's going to work, and fascinating. Yeah.
Consider how long that's added to things like the lifespan of something like Skyrim. If there's anything like the same uptake for Fallout 4, that's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I should just say one thing I don't think we touched on Square Enix, and although it was pretty terrible, they did put together, I think, the best trailers with regards Just Cause 3.
I saw that.
They sold that. Whoever edited that trailer, I take my hat off to you. They understood exactly what people wanted to see. Fast cuts, lots of explosions, lots of action, and they actually sold a proper gameplay feature in things like the tethers and grapple hooks that you can now use. So, shots of like tethering together 3 helicopters so they collide in midair, or you shoot a barrel which explodes into the air and then you hook the other end to a soldier or something. It just looks phenomenal.
Cool. Well, we've taken up probably at least 2 hours of your time, listener. If you've enjoyed the podcast, you can, of course, swing by the forum, read all the reports from the guys. They're fairly extensive, and all of the trailers and gameplay clips are embedded. That's right, isn't it, guys? They're all in there, so it's like a one-stop shop.
Yep.
Most of them.
The month ahead, do we have anything we want to pimp or promote or put out there? We got reviews coming up, or are we in a post E3 lull?
Hopefully my Splatoon review, which I've been taking my time because it's multiplayer, should be up hopefully by the time this poddy goes up.
Have you sunk 84 hours into it like Nial has to The Witcher 3?
No, not quite amount.
Right, okay. Niall, are you actually reviewing Witcher 3, or are you just...
No, I just played it. I didn't really think I had time to review it, and to be fair, it has taken me a month to finish it.
Second playthrough coming up?
Yeah, definitely.
Another 84 hours, or are you going to take your time with this one?
Nah, gotta make a solid 120.
Good for you. James, anything coming up month ahead?
Nothing really. Still consumed by office life, but hoping to get back into the writing realm very soon.
Good stuff. Okay, Leon?
Next week is Batman, which I believe I am reviewing, so I should be doing
that's
soon.
coming. Yeah.
Speaking of Batman, if anybody wants it on PC, I bought a new graphics card the other week, and I got Batman free, and I don't want it. So if anybody wants it, feel free to ask me for it.
Podcast giveaway.
Because you could actually
cool,
have
I'll take it.
All right.
I'm joking. Come up with a scheme of how you're going to give it to the listeners. You on Twitter?
Right,
what do you want? Someone going to tweet you? Whoever tweets you first? What? You tell me.
Whoever sends me a 360-degree shot of their head.
Why have they got so... I don't like that. We'll think so. I'll put it in the comments of the podcast, and then we'll see if anybody wants it. They can have it, because I don't.
Okay, well, if you've enjoyed the podcast, you clearly have great listening stamina.
If you've survived the podcast.
I do hope it was entertaining and informative for you. We always appreciate you stopping by our thread, which is on the forum, leaving us some comments and feedbacks, positive or negative. We're always interested to hear. And please join us again for the podcast next month, where we'll be back to our usual irreverent, unstructured conversation on all things gaming. I have been Steve Hill. Massive thanks to Mark.
Cheers, Steve.
Huge thanks to James.
All right.
A fist bump to Niall.
Thank you very much.
And a high five to Leon.
See you next time.
And we will catch you all next month.
You need to stop doing this.
Look at my
How did we
box
get
set.
onto this?